Oh, so that dude I talked about yesterday,
Which
the one who I walked away from?
Oh, yeah, the healthcare guy.
Well, yeah, he's sort of stalking me right now.
Ooh.
As we
Yeah.
speak.
Bring him
Yeah.
on the show.
Could be go
Yeah,
time.
ambush him.
Do you want me to do that?
Jesse
Pick up
Waters
the
him,
iPad,
bro.
bring your microphone.
Jesse Waters.
No,
Man
he,
on the
he
street.
came by and he said hi. But I also, let's see.
F
you
you,
want me
bro.
to get him to sit down? Here he is. He's. Should we do this? Let me see if
You hear
he
your
walks
music?
by.
You have a mission, Sam.
He's walking around. He's getting swag. That's what a lot of people do to at this point. They get the swag from all the vendors. All right, here he is. Hold on. Slow down. Oh,
Does he hear the
going for
music?
another mimosa. Hey, excuse me. So I'm doing my show. Did I tell you I did do a show? Okay. Do you wanna come on? Because I was talking in general that I was
Yeah, make sure the mimosa's in the show.
having have a seat here. You're on you're on camera. Just to let you know.
Sure. No problem.
All right, here, come on, go right in here.
All right.
Now we were, I've been referencing that I've been having political conversations with people here,
Yes.
and you and I had a conversation the other night.
Quite a good conversation, actually, the other night. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so we were talking about healthcare,
Yes.
right? And you were making the argument that Medicare for all not good.
I was saying it was a not good overall solution. I think, unfortunately, you need to keep the private entities in the game as well.
Why is that unfortunate?
Well, simply, Medicare for all, if it would work and provide still the best level of service, would be a great thing. Unfortunately, the government, when you leave it to a single entity, almost never does anything as well as the private sector, in my opinion. So if you have a number of competing companies, you have a level of service, a level of care, and you reduce the amount of cost involved.
In the insurance companies.
Yes.
Now, why has that not actually happened? Why has insurance gone up every single year that it has been in existence?
Well, I mean, if you look at the highest, most recent increases was actually because of the demand placed on it by the Affordable Care Act.
How so?
Well, when you're requiring a minimum level of care that is significantly higher than what was provided their lowest level entry product before, of course, if you have to pay for, 2 wellness visits a year, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. I mean, I'm not saying that providing these services is bad, but when you force it on them, of course, the cost is going to go up.
Okay, and how do you explain the cost going up at such a rapid rate, even a greater rate, than since the Affordable Care Act was imposed?
You said even before that?
Yeah, before the Affordable Care Act.
absolutely.
If you look at 2000 to 2014, the rate of increase in the cost of health insurance is greater than it's been since the advent of Obamacare.
That's not true. It's gone the steepest.
No, it's absolutely
the two steepest increases were directly after Obamacare. That being said, it has been going up significantly. You're right.
Okay, so how do you reconcile that? If it's because of Obamacare that
I
we
did
have
not say it's because of Obamacare. I said that it was a contributing factor over the past couple of years.
Okay.
That being said, I'm not saying the system isn't broken.
I'm just asking you, because you said that the more insurance companies you have, as opposed to a single payer system, the price goes down. But there's no example that you can cite in the history of us having multiple insurance companies in this field that prices have gone down.
This is actually relatively decent, except it's not true at all. The level of coverage and the cost literally was going down year over year over year. Now the complaint was that it was going up, which is a complete and utter fallacy.
You're telling me that insurance prices...
Give me any time over an 8-year period where it didn't go up, except outside of the last 10 years. Prior to that, any 5 to 8 year period where it didn't go up more than 20% over the entire period.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Give me, when were the last significant increases over 10% per year in healthcare? And mark them out. And if you go out, you will find nearly no example of that prior to the end of the 90s.
Okay, let's see if I can. Cost of health insurance. Let's see if I can do this get some historical health insurance price history from 2005 to 2019.
All right, we're talking about the end of the 90s prior to that. So prior to this whole turnaround in the market, and when you had the market crash, affected rates, blah, 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 if you look at the overall generation of costs as it relates to healthcare prior to this becoming a big deal.
Prior to this becoming a big deal.
We had great prices. It was covered by company, and everybody was doing well. Then all of a sudden it became an issue, and all of a sudden prices went up because everybody, when you put that level of distrust in the industry and you start to attack the industry, I mean, you wind up with, what Obama did.
So you're saying that costs went up, health insurance costs went up because people didn't trust health insurance?
No, it's because health insurance didn't trust the government. I mean, it's the same thing. Look at how Obama ruined the economy. It's very simple.
Obama ruined the economy.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. Ask any economist ever.
What?
Okay, all right. How did he not? Who ruined it? Let's figure this out. Who ruined the economy?
Well, you know that the economy crashed before he was president.
Yes, but you know that he oversaw the worst recovery ever in this country's history, and it was purposefully done.
He purposely made a bad recovery. So he didn't ruin the economy. He just didn't recover it as well.
He did everything he could to make sure that it did not recover quickly.
Why did he do that?
Have you read the Cloward-Piven thesis?
Excuse me?
Have you read Cloward-Piven?
I have not read Cloward-Piven.
Okay, well, then you're not a journalist, because, I mean, that is the Democratic strategy. It is the underlying document. And if you actually read it, or anybody that leans left actually bothered to do some research, you would see this.
So Obama came in and was executing the Cloward-Piven.
Yes. And if you read it, I mean, it's literally, it outlines everything.
And all the people around him, all these bankers from Citibank and this, they subscribe to the same Cloward-Piven.
Of course not. But what? See, here's the thing. You keep looking at it and you're trying to blame everybody else, but you want to completely just give him this God complex where he could do nothing wrong. But you said the other night the government impacts the economy, right? You said the government is the biggest impactor of the economy, which is garbage.
What?
But if you subscribe to that theory, then you can't not blame Obama for the stale recovery. You can't sit there and say he had nothing to do with it, and then also say that
I didn't say that he had nothing to do with it. The stimulus should have been bigger.
When has the stimulus ever worked?
Every time it's been implemented.
Short term, never long term. It's never had any long term benefit whatsoever.
What? The economy has recovered.
It was the slowest recovery ever in this country's history.
Well, it was the second largest.
Why is it that U.S. corporations had the largest cash reserves in U.S. history throughout the beginning of the Obama presidency, yet didn't invest? Because they were concerned about the direction of the country, and because there was very limited actual knowledge given as to what the changes in taxes were going to be. So therefore, they could not invest. This was every top economist came out and said this and begged.
Which top economists?
Read any economic. I mean, literally from Bloomberg, who came out freaking saying it, who you would not expect to literally. I mean, every top CEO was saying, "Listen, we want to invest, we want to grow."
The top CEOs.
Yes.
Not economists.
Yes, economists as well. The CEOs of the company, their head CFOs were coming out saying, "Listen, we want to invest."
Their chief financial officers.
Yes.
Who were talking about the
have you done any research on this?
No.
Is the question. Okay, so you have absolutely no knowledge of the subject, but
I have no knowledge of the subject.
Okay, so why are you arguing the subject?
I'm actually being facetious. I mean, I have not read the Cloward-Piven thing. I've got to do more research. But what about all the spending and stimulus that we had during the Great Depression?
Okay, so you're an FDR guy. You want to know what? There was a need for it, and I would have no problem putting money into, redoing bridges, things like that. These are valid things.
Obama,
my shovel-ready jobs, and then a year and a half later says, "Oh yeah, there is no such thing as a shovel-ready job," and $800 billion somehow disappeared.
Well, how much of that $800 billion were tax cuts?
Not that much of it.
Not that much of it?
I mean, the spending? No, he spent $800 billion that you could not find. I mean, it was money spent. We're not talking tax cuts. This is money spent.
Okay. So
Now,
the
we
stimulus
do
you say
know
was
that
800.
400 million got
Hold on
dropped
for
in
1
Iran.
second, because as you say, it's very important to do research, right?
Right?
And we're going to talk about the stimulus, and we're gonna look it up together here. How much was the stimulus of 2009?
Well, hold on. Now you're talking the stimulus. We're talking spending versus the stimulus package.
Yes. Well, no, we're talking about the.
Now.
I asked you. Hold on for 1 second, okay? I asked you how much of the stimulus was tax cuts. You say it's $800 billion stimulus. I think it's closer to 770, but let's not be picky. And the question is, how much of that was tax cuts, and how much of it was actual spending? From the New York Post, as you know, not a liberal newspaper.
No, not terribly.
Right? More than half of the package was tax cuts. Was in tax cuts.
Okay.
What is half of 800 billion?
400 billion.
400 billion.
Okay.
So 400 billion of that was tax cuts. Now, I'm surprised you didn't know that because of all the
that's not what we were talking about spending. We moved past that. It's tax cuts. It did nothing. What did the stimulus do? Where did it get us?
Well, it kept us from going into a deeper
No, it didn't.
recession.
Define that. I mean, the entire thing with your side is we didn't do anything good, but we stopped this catastrophic thing that we can never ever actually quantify. That's
What?
why is it from the left? It's
There
always
were millions of
why is it on the
jobs
left
that
hand?
were
Why
lost.
is it on the left? You have never actually done anything. It's always just if you hadn't have done what you did, it would have been worse. I've never actually heard a Democrat go, we actually did something good and we had a positive benefit. It's always we did something, but it would have been worse if we didn't do it.
Expanded Medicaid under the ACA, and there's hard data.
What level of results has that had versus the
it has increased
devastating
the health
impact
of
it had
people.
on the? Really? Can you show me any marginal increase?
Yes, I can
I mean,
there was new studies that just came out. Impact of Medicaid expansion. We'll just look at that on health. I Google that, and it was just a reports.
And where is this coming from, and what does it say? I mean, let's see. How is it drastically increased? Like I said, the wellness things, there's been a couple. But again, that's not the Medicaid expansion. That's the forcing of insurance companies to provide this. So it's
no, I understand.
You're looking at two different variants of.
No, you're looking at two different variants. I didn't bring that up. That was what you just said. I didn't.
Okay, but you're saying the overall impact on health, but is it just the Medicaid expansion? If you are narrowing it down just to the Medicaid expansion, let's hear some actual.
Yeah, I'm going to. I've just found it right here. This is the University of Michigan Health. Do you consider that like a left-wing?
I mean, come on. I don't really care that much. I don't tend to subscribe to the whole left, freaking right.
Okay, right. Anyways, it says benefits for mind, body, and work ability seen in Medicaid expansion. New findings about low-income adults with behavioral health conditions, mental health, and substance abuse disorders suggest importance of continuous coverage. Expanding Medicaid to more low-income adults helped them feel healthier, do a better job at work or job search in just 1 year after they got their new health coverage. A University of Michigan study finds. I can find more stuff. That was
is there any number in there that gives any level of quantifiable value?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we could look through the actual study. But I'm telling you, there's a paper. It says in a new paper in the Journal of Psychiatric Services.
Okay, so it's all psychiatric. Absolutely. All right. So offering addiction services to people, 100% behind that.
Right.
Okay.
Medicaid, we were just saying.
Medicaid, I don't think it has had a drastic increase. And honestly, are these people that would not have had health care before? Probably not. Not a large majority.
Medicaid is only available to people who can't afford health care.
That's a load of crap.
What?
That's a load of crap.
What do you mean? Who's eligible for Medicaid in the expansion?
Well, they just said low-income people. Now, If you
No,
make
no, no.
over-
Let me ask you, because you have done a lot of research on this, and so I'm asking you, who's eligible for Medicaid?
All right, for Medicaid, I think it's under what, 28,000 a year.
Do you know what level of poverty?
It goes up to the poverty level plus 10%.
For the expansion of Medicaid, 133% of poverty.
Huh?
133%
Percent of poverty.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I said plus 10%. All right.
Right.
So,
I mean, you're 20. It's not that far off, I guess. Well, look, I think this has been interesting, but we've got to wrap up the show.
I'm hungover as shit from last night anyway.
Yeah.
So.
No, I understand.
But hey, it was a pleasure anyway.
Yeah, you too. All right. Take it easy. Yeah, don't forget your drink. Here you go. Oh, I didn't realize there was nothing left. Okay. There you go.
Wow.
Yep. So
That's what Reagan was talking about with all those new perspectives you're bringing in.
I'm sorry, folks, but that one stuck out for me. Of the various.
What the Piven Cloward strategy is, Sam. Jesus.
I didn't. Was he talking about Francis?
Yes, that was Glenn
Francis
Beck's
Piven?
whole
Yes,
theory
I
of the
know,
Obama
I know.
administration.
I know it.
I thought that was like right.
I was
in your
relieved he
wheelhouse.
wasn't into the whole left versus right thing, though.
That was cool though. He didn't really subscribe to that.